Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Just fire away.
I'm always a little nervous. I'm always like, uh-oh. I hope they don't ask me about like some guy that was, in undrafted free agent that I'm like,
right? Does
I'm
that
not
keep
sure
you up
if
at
I know.
night?
It does. It's the worst part about the draft process.
Yeah, there's so many guys.
Yeah, I'll be like, oh, I've watched the 15 top guys at this position. I got to be good.
Right.
And then I'll have a coach friend go, hey, did you watch blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, no. And they're like, man, I think he's really good. He might go in the first 2 rounds. And I'm like, oh, my gosh. Let me go turn on another guy.
Our producer, Matt Casey, who put these together, that's right in his wheelhouse for sense of humor as well.
Yeah.
To, like, line one of those up.
Oh, of course it is. Yeah, I don't trust Matt Casey. Who knows what he's done?
Well, he's probably chuckling in the back right now.
I hope you can read.
We'll see. All right, number one. And some of these Twitter handles are going to be the most difficult part of the show for me. So I've got this one, @LockedOnColts. Okay, that's not a problem.
Okay, we got a Colts question coming.
Yeah, imagine that. Tell me why #Colts should not be a Super Bowl favorite. Offense is loaded with playmakers, and the defense is young and ascending.
Yeah. I don't think there's I'm not going to get any argument from me there. I do think they're in that type of conversation. As far as I expect the Indianapolis Colts to be in the playoffs, I think they've made some pretty good moves in free agency, getting guys like Justin Houston to add to the pass rush. We saw what they did in the second round of the draft. No, I think the Colts are an extremely dangerous football team. If I had to have an area of their team, and I won't even pull up the roster here as I sit here and talk because that's what I'd like to do, but I think if there was one area I would question just a little bit would be corner. Okay, corner, they got some good players there, Paulie. I am a big believer, though, in this day and age in the NFL right now, when it's 3rd and 4, you can't play zone on 3rd and 4 anymore. Okay. I mean, there's a reason the New England Patriots have been in like 4 of the, how many are Super Bowls here of lately. They, in big situations, are not just going to go zone defense and let the receiver and the quarterback find a hole in the zone and go, let's see if you can throw it and catch it. No, this just in. All the quarterbacks and receivers can throw it and catch it.
Right. Yeah.
So you got to make some things interesting. You got to have a guy like Gilmore or a few guys that can match up in those situations to where some scheme system play doesn't expose your zone coverage. You got to be able to lock up and play a little man-to-man. That's the one thing I worry.
I know you like the Colts, and it's nice of you to bring up a concern for them. But how much so? You like them to be a 10-6 team, or are you thinking like 13-3, one of the 3 or 4 best?
Yeah, they have the potential to be that 13-3, 12-4 team. Here's the big thing with the Colts. I think this is the biggest obstacle they have to really overcome. The damn division, the AFC South is real, right? Yeah. I mean, the Houston Texans, we know they're not going anywhere. I mean, it's a good football team. You know, you look at the Tennessee Titans and go, damn, they've been a playoff team 2 years ago. We're on the verge of making the playoffs last year. They've made some improvements, and I would just be absolutely shocked if Jacksonville is not really good. With just the improvements they made on offense, getting Nick Foles at quarterback, I just look at them and go, with that defense already, and so that'll be the big thing.
Yeah, on May 1st, they all look pretty good.
They all look pretty good.
Would you put Indy at the top of the list, though?
Is that division?
Yeah.
I think I would. I would, yes. I think I have the least amount of questions about them as anybody else in the division. But, man, that's going to be tough. And a lot of where they're seated is going to be how they come out as far as some of those 6 division games and how they fare in them.
I think @LockedOnColts will be happy with your response.
Good, good.
To his question and all of mine. All right, number 2, Brad Goodchild. Better chance of DK Metcalf, who went to Seattle, turning into Julio Jones or Kevin White. Both had awesome measurables, but not great receivers.
Yes, okay. That's a really good question. I think that's exactly what probably the people who didn't like DK Metcalf, they probably went, ooh, that might be Kevin White. And the ones that liked him said, ooh, that's Julio Jones. I tend to be the guy that goes Julio Jones. There was questions I had about Kevin White when he was coming out in the draft. If anybody ever wanted to go back and listen to my old Bleacher Report podcast stuff, it was him and Amari Cooper. And I went, man, this Kevin White's good, but he doesn't play nearly as fast as what his 40 time was at the time. And the other thing that really bothered me about Kevin White's game at the time, too, was yards after catch. His ability to make a play with the ball in his hand after he caught about it was almost really non-existent, to where that's not the case with DK Metcalf. And I think if DK Metcalf was in West Virginia's offense, we would have seen a lot more production and help there as well. So, no, I tend to be DK Metcalf more the Julio Jones guy when all said and done.
More DK Metcalf here with our question number 3. Orion Chuz would like to know, given that both Paris Campbell and DK Metcalf were higher on your overall wide receiver rankings and still available when Kansas City picked McCole Hardman, was this a case of him being a better fit for their offense? especially in light of the Tyreek Hill situation, or would you have gone in a different way? By the way, big love for the podcast from all the way in London.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
That's always good to hear, especially when you go across the pond and get some loyal listeners there. I love that. I guess, okay, so here, that's another really good question. No, if I was the Kansas City Chiefs, I would have taken Paris Campbell there. I certainly would have. Yes, Paris Campbell.
In a traditional wide receiver role, or in the Tyreek Hill, kind of move him around?
I think that's what he is ultimately. I think that's how Paris Campbell should start out his career, as kind of being that weapon X kind of guy where, oh, he's a slot receiver. Oh, we can put him outside receiver and he'll run go routes. You know, here's a speed sweep or reverse. You know, make a play that way. Here's a screen pass. You know, I said that it was Tyreek Hill, Percy Harvin-ish type of talent, to where, yeah, I think he is a little further along as a wide receiver than McCole Hardman. But McCole Hardman, I'm not going to be mad at that pick. You know I loved it. It's a similar type of football player there that can be, the slot guy, the screen guy, the speed sweep guy. And it's really close as far as who's the more explosive guy. I would say maybe straight away, McCole Hardman is probably a little more explosive than Paris Campbell, who I'm awed by his explosiveness already.
His potential is going to have to be production if they are without Hill in a hurry.
Yes, and it's, I mean, I just can't imagine that Hill is there. At least the first 8 weeks of the year, I'd be shocked if he was there at all. Right, exactly. He's in deep trouble.
All right, fourth question at Kokio, Coccios. Hope I didn't butcher that one too bad.
I hope you did.
What are your impressions of Chase Winovich? He went to the Patriots. You think he can make an impact as a Vrabel Ninkovich type player? Your draft party was awesome, by the way.
Thank you very much. That's exactly how I see him. When he got drafted, I said, well, there's their Ninkovich. There he is. I mean, perfect fit for everything that the New England Patriots want to do, especially their front seven. I mean, 1 week it's a 4-3, the next week it's a 3-4. You know, the next week after that it's a 2-4. It's 2 down defensive linemen and 4 linebackers, and they're playing nickel, so they're all over the place. And Winovich is a football player. He can do all of it.
He has that kind of range.
He does. He really does. I mean, you know, again, I think everybody saw it on film, and then when he went to the combine and put up numbers where we all went, okay, the guy is as legit as we thought on film, and now we have the numbers that match up. You saw him in person when we watched Notre Dame play them this year. I mean, he's got incredible get-off, incredible motor coming off the edge, and I think he's one of those guys, too, that he's a good enough football player. If they were like, hey, we got to play you at middle linebacker this week because we're a little thin there, they could do it. He's smart enough and I think versatile enough to do all those things.
You were there working for the Pats when Ninkovich was there, right?
Yeah.
What allowed him? Number one trait he had as we look to Winovich allowed him to be that versatile and that productive for so long.
Yeah, I think the big thing is he is a bigger, stronger man than I think people realize. Like, he is part caveman Ninkovich, okay? Like, and I mean that in the most respectful way.
It's a compliment.
But it is, because he's got a forehead and a jaw where you're just like, damn, if I punched him, I don't think he's going to be fazed by this. So he had that going onto it. His attention to detail, as far as knowing what his role was in the specific defensive play, and his attention to detail with his own mechanics, hand fighting, you know, arm position coming around the edge. Those are the things that made him go from a good player to, oh, you're a Patriots legend who always seems to show up in the big moments, along with the versatility we talked about. You know, he could drop into coverage, he could rush the passer, he could blitz up the middle, he could do all those things, and then New England puts great value on those kind of guys.
All right, Cards fan from New York City, Jordan/XN Jordan.
Yeah.
Who will win more games in the upcoming season, Kyler or Haskins with Washington?
Oh, okay. That's a really good one. I do think that the Washington Redskins are the better football team. So right away, I ultimately want to say that. Now, the caveat
Are we doing this again? Are we doing this
I
again?
just drank my coffee, so I got a few burps to get out, okay? The caveat in that question right there is really about, when does Dwayne Haskins start? Right? I mean, I think Kyler Murray, and we all know, he's the starter. Steve Keim already said it. It's game one, he's the guy, he's going out there.
You don't think it's the same for Haskins?
I think there's a little more doubt there. I think when all's said and done, I don't know how I feel about it. I think Haskins is clearly going to be the most talented guy on the football team as far as the quarterback position. It's going to be about, you know, again, can he understand the complexity of the offense and really digest it all before week 1 of the NFL season? To where, yeah, I could see Haskins being one of those guys who maybe they start off 3-3 and they go, you know what, let's put the guy in. Enough of Colt McCoy or Case Keenum. You know, we're 3-3. We think we would have been 3-3 if Dwayne Haskins was starting anyway, so let's just put him out there. that's where I question it. So I guess what I'm saying in the end of the day is I'm probably going to give a few more wins to Murray, but that's a tough one for me to answer just because I'm not sure when Haskins cracks the starting lineup.
Wouldn't it be kind of a disappointment when you look at the veteran lineup in that quarterback room if he wasn't starting right away?
It would be a little bit, yeah.
Kind of a sign that, okay, whether it was mini camp or summer training camp, something wasn't quite there the way they wanted it to.
Yeah, right. Well, and I think that's part of the reason we saw some of the steam fall off of the Dwayne Haskins train through the draft process is just, again, I know I've said it many times, he just was young. He truly is 21. He showed that he's 21. And I think there's teams that looked at him and said, yeah, he needs a year, maybe 2 years behind a guy to learn and grow as a person and as a player. But I think physically, Paul, he's going to blow the rest of those guys out of the water to where he's going to make it very tough on them not to start him because they're all going to go, well, damn, look, he's so much bigger than McCoy and Case Keenum. And damn, his arm, it's not even close. He's throwing lasers all over the field, and those guys are, throwing nice touch passes, whatever it may be. So they're going to have their work cut out for them as far as making that decision.
You ready for one from Tony Baloney?
Tony Baloney?
Yeah, he showed up here.
Good.
Yeah. Any reason for concern with Shanahan and Lynch's relationship in San Francisco? They seem pretty chill from the outside looking in, but you would know best.
Yeah, I do know best, and Tony, I can tell you that conversation is baloney. Oh, I'm pretty good.
What's this story anyway?
I don't know. I knew this story was going to come out because I had some NFL insiders over the last month ask me about, hey, are things good with your boy and John Lynch? I've heard some rumblings here and there.
What's the basis?
I don't know what the basis is. I gave my little 2 cents this morning on Pro Football Talk. I think there's 2 things that are the basis for this. One, they're 10-22 so far in their 2 years. So anytime people see that, they go, well, there must be friction there. I think the other thing that adds to that is the 2017 first-round picks. Solomon Thomas, Reuben Foster were both defensive guys where I think people are pinning that on, oh, John Lynch must have drafted them. They're defensive guys, and they haven't worked out, and they just assume there's friction there. And that's not true either.
Seems like a reach.
That's a reach. And Kyle Shanahan, at the end of the day, is the guy making these picks. So anything John Lynch does, Kyle is sitting there next to him going, do it. Okay, yeah, you got my okay. I like the move, too. So that, and then here's my last little caveat I'd throw with this conversation, because this came up with people asking me. I know Mike Shanahan's around the 49ers a little bit, and in NFL circles, front office people, scouts, when they see, another prominent figure around, they automatically question, does he not trust the people in the front office? Does he not trust John Lynch to make proper evaluations? Is that why he's got to ask his dad to be around, whatever it may be? No, his dad's around because he's a all-time NFL legend. He won 2 Super Bowls, and Kyle would be absolutely stupid not to have his dad around from time to time to go, hey, Dad, am I saying the right things? Am I doing the right things? What do you think of this guy at this position? He's leaning on his dad when need be. And I don't know the answers to these things.
Nice resource to have.
I'm just throwing all these things out there to why I think this conversation even started.
All right, more with the 49ers here from To Mars and Back. How does the new 49ers wide 9 scheme fit with Nick Bosa, D Ford, and the whole D-line? Before we get to the specifics of that, wide 9 is?
Wide 9 is like your defensive end, right, where, okay, he is way outside the offensive tackle.
In a track stance.
He is in a track stance, literally where you go, okay, there's the offensive tackle, and now the defensive end is a good 4 feet outside of him, really trying to create the best angle possible for him to get to the 6-yard mark to where he thinks the quarterback's going to be at the top of his draft. That's the wide 9, and they got 2 studs for wide 9. I mean, Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, he was put on earth to rush the passer. The way he's built, the way he plays, all of that, yes, it's about getting around the edge and getting after the quarterback, and same with D Ford. This is the same thing. That's where I think, hey, the 49ers defense really has a chance to be a real force this year.
One on one side and one on the other?
One on the one side, one on the other. And then, when you throw in DeForest Buckner and Eric Armstead in the middle with a Solomon Thomas part of the rotation, you start to go, okay, that's pretty legit there. The 49ers are going to be able to send waves of players at you. And I think it's going to greatly improve their football team and take a little pressure off their offense altogether.
That would be nice.
Yep.
The Cryptic Beagle.
The Cryptic Beagle.
Might end up being the best name.
Right.
We'll see. Which NFL players would you pick to be Avengers? This is a perfect question for you. Love the pod. Thanks for preaching self-scouting and keeping it real, homie.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that, homie. That's a nice one. I like his name, too.
I'm waiting for somebody to rip you at the end of one of these questions, by the way.
I welcome it. Don't be afraid, listeners.
By it.
I will certainly. I want to make that a segment. Actually, the worst comments directed towards me.
There's a show.
We need to
Sounds like a show.
We need to do that at some point, right? Yeah. Like, who was the best to shit on Chris Simms over the last 2 months? And let's go from there. Ooh, the Avengers. Okay, need a little bit of everything. I think J.J. Watt, since he looks like Captain America, is going to be on my Avengers team. Okay? Right off the bat. I mean, my Avengers, I want Fletcher Cox and Aaron Donald on there with me, too. I mean, yeah, oh, yes, a shame for me for wanting the two biggest, strongest, feared guys in the NFL. Yes, I want them. They are certainly in my Avengers. You know, let's see, I'd make Aaron Donald Thor, and then I think I'd go and make Fletcher Cox the Incredible Hulk, right? So
that works.
Now I got Captain America, I got the Hulk, I got Thor.
We're close enough to the draft that I think you should have a rookie in there somewhere.
You think I should have a rookie?
Yeah.
Well, I got to go with Iron Man. And who's Iron Man first? Iron Man has to be a guy that's, of course, a little older.
Right.
And is very smart and witty. I mean, do I make Brady an Iron Man? Do I make Brady I feel like he would have a Jarvis.
You can go wrong.
He'd be like, Jarvis, is it time to eat avocado ice cream? Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Tom. You are low on energy. So I might have to make.
Well done.
I might have to make Brady
pick.
Iron Man, and then I'm missing, I think, one Avenger here.
This is where you could put the rookie.
I could put the rookie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any rookie of your choice, any position, either side of the ball.
Oh yeah, I think. I think if I had to choose any of the rookies from this class here, who do you want? Hawkeye and Black Widow. I know they are Avengers. I don't know if their powers are special enough for me to make this cut right here. Who would you put? Any rookies that jump out to you? I want to give Ed Oliver really my last Avenger pick, right?
Versatile.
Yeah, versatile,
Can
right.
play up and down
Can
the
beat you
Avenger
with
line.
speed or the power game. He can hang with Hulk and he can hang with Iron Man. I think he can do it all. So I hope that is a good enough Avenger team for you.
Kind of forced you into putting a rookie on
Don't
there.
worry, that's
All
okay.
Right. Okay.
You've done worse.
Reading and might do worse coming up here.
Oh, I love this because Paul is such a professional and he wants to get these names right. And you're not going to get them right, so just butcher it. Don't worry.
I think this is Matt the W. Cole Webb. He needs a shorter handle, by the way, which is a strange thing to say.
Matt the W. Cole Webb.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's him.
Okay.
And he has a short question. Who has better year two in the new system? Carr or Stafford? Oh, it's Matthew. It's Matthew. I thought it was Matt Casey's laughing his ass off.
Kid can't even read over here.
I know.
Okay, so wait, what was the question now?
From Matthew?
Yes.
Not Matt the?
Matt the?
Is your brother's real name Matt the, or is it Matthew?
Oh, that's so funny that you just butchered that.
Yeah.
What the hell was this question?
Who has a better year two in a new system, Carr or Stafford?
Oh, Carr or Stafford. Okay.
Matt the Stafford.
Matt the Stafford. I expect improvement for both. I'm going to say you see the most improvement for Matt Stafford. I really am. I think Matt last year was, an outlier year for Matt Stafford. Again, I'm a Matthew Stafford defender, and I can't defend him last year. He played his worst football of his whole career, and I do believe a lot of that was because of the culture shock. And to put it in layman's terms or explain it to everybody, really, hey, the Detroit Lions, until last year, they played backyard street football. They just said, hey, Matt, we're going to get in the shotgun. We can't run the ball. We can't play defense. Just throw it 40 times and make magic happen and hope we can win. And that's the way he was used to play it, and that's why he threw a few interceptions sometimes. Right. We're like, wow, how did he throw the interception? What? How did he throw the interception? Because he's had shit pass protection, just an average offensive scheme, and he had his first 100-yard rusher last year in 6 years. Wow. So that's how, it can look not so great for a quarterback at times. Where last year, it became Matt Patricia. This is New England. We're going to manage every situation. We're going to manage the huddle. We're going to manage tight ends. We're going to manage your meeting before the meeting. We're going to have a meeting to talk about the meeting and all of those things to where, yes, it can affect a football player getting used to a new style of play to going, hey, it's one thing when you're a basketball player, right? And you just go, I know I'm going to get 30 shots tonight, so I can just keep shooting. Then now the coach comes in and goes, I don't want you to shoot a ball in the first quarter. And then you get in the second quarter and you're going, damn, I haven't got a shot. I'm not in a rhythm. And I think that's a little bit what Matthew Stafford went through, where he just goes, I'm used to already throwing like 20 passes by the time halftime's over. And here we are at halftime, and I've given the ball to the running back 25 times, and I only got 9 or 10 passes. And I think all of that was part of the problem. Stafford has incredible talent. I am a defender of him, and I think he's more talented than Derek Carr. That's why I'm going to say he has the bigger jump.
I think it's interesting that Carr and Stafford just ended up in this conversation because, to me, they're kind of the same guys. Stafford is older. However, you think about a lot of talent, a lot of production, individual talent from both, a lot more good than bad. However, not much postseason, if any, postseason success for either one of them. They're kind of similar guys about 5 years apart.
Stafford's been in the postseason twice, and he was going to beat the Dallas Cowboys until the controversial pass interference call. Remember that? You know, he played really well up in Seattle in the wild card game 2 years ago, and the receivers had a few drops and let him down to where the game was going to get competitive. So I even think you're right. It's very similar career arcs. I would say Stafford, though, is more impressive that way. Hey, and again, as much as we want to bag on Matt Stafford, until last year, okay, just this is a little stat for everybody, until last year, he had been to the playoffs just as many times as Drew Brees had in his career.
Really?
And yeah, people forget that. Drew Brees, they went to the playoffs in 2011, and then they went in 2014. And then until last year, that was the last, and 17 and 18 of the last 2 times he'd been. He went through a long stretch of no playoff. But Drew Brees, and I'm not trying to bag on him, I'm just telling you, for whatever reason, got a free pass in that conversation. He's a franchise quarterback. Everybody telling me he's the best quarterback in football.
He had been,
prior
to 2010, they'd won a Super Bowl.
They've been
in the playoffs before that as well.
Exactly right. I'm just saying when Stafford got into the league, which was 10 or 11, until last year, Brees had just passed him up with playoff appearances. Last year, he one-upped him. So I'm just throwing that out there. Not that I'm saying Stafford is as good as Drew Brees. I'm just saying, again, context around the players, and sometimes we jump on a player for one thing, and then I want to just point out that here's another player with the same thing, and we're not talking about that. I'm just trying to do that a little.
However, Brees did have the Super Bowl title and a couple of league MVPs.
Yes, he did.
Well, Matt the Stafford
no league MVPs, but that's all right.
No?
No, Brees has no MVPs.
Ever?
No, never. I know. That's shocking, right? I know you want to say I'm challenging you to that, but I'm telling you I'm right.
I'm telling you I'm right.
I'm right.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Look, he's still like, I swear he's wrong. Somebody.
You know I'm going to go home.
You're waiting for somebody to get in your ear and go, no, Chris is stupid. You're right.
Nobody has said that. Somebody might be thinking
that was the issue last year. People wanted to give Drew Brees the MVP because they thought it was his last chance to win it. Remember, that was a talking point, like in Week 10, where people were like, I think Brees is ahead of Mahomes. It's kind of a career award. What? No, there's no such thing as a career award for MVP. You don't know if Patrick Mahomes will ever get back to the level he was at last year.
Right.
You know, he was the best player last year. You vote for that guy. It's not a career award. So there you go.
All right. Exhale. Period on the end of that one. I think you mentioned the Cowboys. More Cowboy talk here from Tyson Robb. Thoughts on the Cowboys drafts? I think it was sneaky, really good, but because they didn't have a first-round pick, nobody really talks about that.
No, you're right. It was sneaky good. I mean, the Cowboys are the old school Raiders, first of all, a little bit. It always seems like they come out with a few freak shows, you know, bigger, faster, stronger type of guys. Tristan Hill, the kid they got out of Central Florida, has phenomenal potential. I mean, at his best, he was a first-round talent. The problem with a guy like Tristan Hill, there was a few plays every game where you'd go, I mean, he's gotten, blown up, and he's 5 yards down the field. How the hell does that happen? But the Tony Pollard pick, I think, is going to be a great addition for the offense. I think they needed that as far as a running back with a different skill set than Ezekiel Elliott, take a little pressure off him. And then Connor McGovern is a road grader at offensive line. And I think they realized they needed a little more depth at that position. And he's a guy that I think could, when maybe contracts get done and things get shuffled out, where he's got the potential to be a starting offensive lineman at some point. So Dallas, is a really talented team and did not have a lot of holes on their roster in general to where I went, ooh, they got to fill this. They're a playoff caliber team. They're one of the better rosters in football, and I expect them to be back up in that top of the NFC conversation once again.
In general, looking at that pack of 8 picks, and everybody with us on YouTube saw the 8 picks of the Dallas Cowboys, without a first-round pick, What would be a good haul, whether it's Dallas or any of the other 31 teams? 2 starters and 3 or 4 contributors when you have 8 and no first-round pick?
I think that's a fair number.
Look at it 3 or 4 years down the road.
Right. You're hoping that, okay, out of these 8 picks, none are a first-rounder, which first-rounders are usually first-rounders because they're year-one starters. Like here, he's on training camp, he's starting, he's jumped out to us. Yeah, the rest of these guys, you go, I hope that they're in the rotation in year 1 and 2. And at the very worst, starting for our team at some point in year 3 and have, 2 or 3 of those guys. That's really where you look at a guy like Tristan Hill, not going to be a starter in year 1, but part of the rotation. And you hope he impresses you so much that you go, okay, next year you're the starter, or at least you're quicker to be a part of the rotation, and then maybe you mature enough in year 3 to where you are the guy.
Where somebody in the background is producing, because the next question is about the Cowboys draft again from Hawk Panther 11. Was Amari Cooper, they gave up a first-round pick for him, worth the trade for Dallas?
I do. Yeah, I look at it, and okay, I mean, if we're going to just sit here and go through the draft, first of all, we just talked about how the Cowboys had no really glaring spots on their roster that we said, ooh, they need to fix this position.
A big reason you can say that is because they have Amari Cooper.
Exactly right. That was the #1 issue with their team going into last season, where, remember, they were trying to sell on everybody, and all the fans were going, you guys don't have any good receivers. They were trying to say you can win without top-tier receivers. You don't need top-tier receivers. And they basically, the Jones family, which I give them credit, they self-scouted thyself and admitted, we undervalued the position a little bit. You need that difference maker. And, where the Cowboys were picking, which was what? It was going to be, pick 27?
Was that a 24 or 27?
Yeah, I think it was 27, right? And I think with there was going to be no position that really had value if they were picking at 27 this year that they were going to go, ooh, we need that.
Especially if there was a receiver, like the receiver available at 27, not as good as Amari Cooper.
Definitely not. Amari Cooper was a top 10 pick for a reason. He's special that way. His first 2 years in Oakland were special. And then some issues happened in Oakland. I think he got in a funk. He was dropping the ball. The offense didn't find ways to get him the ball. It seemed like him and Derek Carr lost their connection. He talked about it last year a little bit, how he had kind of lost his love for football a little bit and got lost in his way. And he had to kind of reinvigorate that to when he got to Dallas to go like, why am I being so serious all the time? Like, why don't I enjoy this? This is kind of cool. I'm playing receiver in the NFL. Yeah. And then we saw a totally different player. We saw the guy we saw the first 2 years. He's got, he has the type of talent to be one of the 5 best receivers in football. Great route runner. We saw last year he can go 70 yards to the house and outrun people for long touchdowns, be over the top, do all the stuff you need.
You made Hawk Panther very happy.
Good.
About his Dallas Cowboys. At Marcel Martinez, this is even better. Love this one. What's up, Simms? Vintage animal question.
Yes.
If NFL position groups would suddenly transform into animals, which type of animal would they each be? Is the diva wide receiver a gazelle or more like a cheetah? Keep it real and love the pod from Germany.
Man, thank you.
That's 2 from overseas.
Peace. What up, Germany? Okay. I like to hear it. Okay, all right, so this is easy right off the bat. O-linemen are cows. Okay, right away.
That's not very nice.
They're cows. That's what they are, though. They want to sit in the corner of the field and graze, and they don't want anybody to bother them. That's why you need a psycho offensive line coach, because every now and then he's got to stick the poker in their butt. And they're like, get out of that field to the corner. Let's go. Get a jog going. Because that's what the offensive linemen will do. They'll even, in the weight room, they'll hide in the corner of the weight room and like, I don't think coach is watching us every second. I could cheat a few reps or sets here or do that. That's just the way they are by nature. Yeah.
Got to tell the story. One of my old roommates at Iowa, Brett Bielema, head coach at Wisconsin, now he's with the Patriots, grew up on a farm just across the Iowa-Illinois border, and they had a lot of pigs there. And when he and his siblings got out of line, they would get hit with the hog whomper, which is an basically electric paddle.
Right. Yeah. That's insane.
Right?
Yes, insane.
Yeah. So
that's what you do when you're bored and growing up on a farm. You go, let's see how much that thing hurts.
Better stay in line, right?
Seriously.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yes, okay. Well, now we know about Bielema. Now we know why he's a little crazy.
We should get him on the show sometime.
Yeah, he would be fun.
He'd be awesome.
But he's not going to be fun anymore because he works in New England, and they're going to get the muzzles on him now. He's done. But yes, the cows are O-line. Defensive line are bulls.
Okay.
Castrated or not, they're bulls. They're angry, they're mad, they're always got an edge about them.
That's more of a compliment than the offensive lineman being cows.
Yeah, that's right. I know. Sorry. But yes, I look at them like that. Are receivers gazelles or cheetahs, because those are really the two positions for DBs and wide receivers. It's one of the two. You know, like receivers, like a cheetah or a gazelle, if they have like one little thing that doesn't feel good on their body, they like limp.
Right.
Like, what are you limping about? My right pinky hurts.
Yeah.
So you're limping? Yeah, because they're like so used to being like
then they
these
got
physical
the boot on in
freak, feeling great.
practice,
You're right.
always
So
being iced.
exactly right. But they are freakish that way.
Yep.
Quarterbacks are, I don't know what quarterbacks are.
Can quarterbacks even be animals?
I mean, they got to be
know.
some sort of animal. They got to be some like kind of nerdy, smart animal that we're not thinking of. I'll get to that in the future, but we hit enough. We hit enough right there. I think
I'm
that's
putting
good
the
enough.
cheetah at that wide 9 that you talked about.
You want to go
San
cheetah at
Francisco.
wide 9?
We paid a little extra to get some kind of tour at the safari park in San Diego.
Yeah.
You been there?
Yeah, I have.
A few years ago, my youngest was very into cheetahs. And we
Right.
got to watch it. They brought one out, and they were going to like drag something in front of it, whether it was like a hunk of meat or his favorite toy. I don't remember. But it got him going into a full sprint. And he went from literally 0 to like 75 in 3 or 4 steps.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's like insane.
Unblockable coming off the edge.
Greatest athletes
Some
on the
may
planet.
say get him the football, but I would put him on the defensive
You want to
side.
put him on the edge?
Yeah.
I worry about him being able to hold up against the run game, okay? I worry about that. I worry about the first time the guard comes around.
There's no
big
perfect
cow.
candidate.
There's no perfect
There's
candidate.
no perfect first-round pick.
You're right. There is no perfect first-round pick. My Matt Casey got in my ear with the quarterback. He goes, maybe it's a fox. Fox could be possible. You know,
Fox just stole one of my chickens.
That's
I
what
saw
I mean.
it happen in my house.
Sneaky,
Yeah.
crafty, can shuffle around the pocket,
Efficient.
still make things happen.
Knew what he was doing.
You know it. Fox, yeah, they're definitely up there. We're missing one for our quarterback. I just can't think of what it is. It'll hit me when I stop thinking about it.
Owl.
But actually,
A wise owl up in a tree.
a wise owl up in a tree with that great vision.
Smart,
That might be
kinda
it.
mean,
That could
in
work.
control.
That could work. I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brady's got some of those qualities.
They stole one of our chickens too.
Speaking of mean quarterbacks, we better call my dad. We have to. I think we got to interrupt.
Already?
I think so. We told him 11:30 and it's 11:40, and you know he's going to be bitching and
Is that
moaning.
why? Is that why he hasn't
One
called
more
in?
and we'll call
Okay.
him.
All
Okay.
right.
Let me text him because he's already. Where are you guys?
Can you text and listen at the same time?
Yes, I can.
All right.
We'll do it.
Sam Ferrier would like to know, do you think there will be any bad blood between Devin Bush and Justin Lane at the Steelers after what Bush did to the Spartans logo on the field? Really enjoy the show, guys. Sending love from Scotland, 3rd from overseas, by the way.
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, more times than not, little college rivalries don't carry over to the
Just
NFL.
fun, right?
It is just fun. I'm sure Justin Lane's gonna, make some comments about it in the locker room and, tell them that was messed up and whatever else. But all in all, I think that's the one thing you learn about when you get in an NFL locker room. There's not this bitter oh, we're still competing against each other. Even the guys that you're competing against at your own position, you're not sitting there rooting against guys like you think you would be. I mean, when I was a freshman in high school, those are the things I thought. And that stuff went on even in college a little bit. But when you got to the pros, you started to realize, wait, it is about me. You hear that. We got to be the best we can be. I got to be the best version of me. And that's what you start to realize. Okay, a lot of this is in the control of my hands. It's not about whether that guy messes up. It's great if he messes up, and that will help me. But still, I need to be impressive on a daily basis and take advantage of my reps and show improvement to give the coaches the confidence to actually put me in there. And there's no point in me wasting this negative energy rooting against the guy I'm competing with, during practice where I'm going, oh, I hope he up, I hope he up, I hope he up. Because you know what? That's when your focus is there, then it's your time to get in. So
Right.
You need to stay focused on what you need to do to become the better player. And I think that goes on more in the NFL than maybe people realize. Yo, what's up? Come on, man. Subscribe on YouTube to Chris Simms Unbuttoned podcast. I need you. Please hit the subscribe button, please.